Hi, today we're looking at this retro gaming console, the R36S, as a handheld device. Now I know there is a ton of reviews out there, but I see many of these reviews on this handheld device is based upon some channels that is reviewing mostly these handheld device, and I don't see a lot of reviews based on someone like me who has no experience in these handheld devices. So I'm just going to give you my input on how I think this handheld device will perform for someone who has not tried all handheld devices. Actually, I've never tried one. I bought one a year ago or something for $10, like a cheap one. That was not really compared to this. Actually, this is a gift for my daughter, and I wanted something that's she could be gaming at, playing at, that's not her iPad. Because a lot of the games she's playing on her iPad is mostly inside of Roblox, and we all know that there are some controversies with Roblox right now. And a lot of the games are just pure brain rot. I wanted something that she can dive into, and something that I maybe, if she wouldn't want to play on it, I could at least play on it from games from my past, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, I think it's called, or Nintendo 64, and the PlayStation 1, Tekken, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, and etc. Games that you can dive into and you can spend hours on playing. As you can see, there's a Christmas tree behind me. This is a Christmas present for my daughter, which is why I also didn't remove the protective film on the screen. I opened it because it was in German. I had to set it to English because there is no Danish version for us, so that's fine. We have such a small language, but an English version so we can navigate it. My reviews are only based on playing Tekken and some of my some Spyro and some Nintendo 64, the Super Mario version. And for someone who has tried the old Game Boy, when the Game Boy was like back in the day when the game was a thing, I see a lot of the handheld device channels are complaining that the buttons are not that good and not that responsive. And I can say for certain that this handheld device, at least for a new handheld device, the R36S feels a lot more intuitive and a lot better than the handheld devices the Game Boy did back in the day. And I would even say that the controller on this, or the controls on this, also feels better than the PS1 controller did back in the day when that controller was new. It's clear that the technology has moved further in the 20 years or so. I get that some of these some of the D-pads and some of the controllers are better on more expensive devices, and this is a cheaper device. But in my opinion, this is by far good enough. And something that I'm really glad to see is that it has USB-C charging, and you can charge it while playing, and it has a really, really great screen. If you compare it to a phone or something else, you can really see, in my opinion, that this screen should be worse or better than a phone. It's plenty of bright. You can see it in complete daylight, which is what I was looking for, because in some of these screens, you can't really see it if there's too much daylight on it. At least that's what I've heard. And you can see everything on this screen. It's clear as day. And for the games that this is going to play, it's so... like, there's nothing wrong with it. I couldn't ask for anything more on the screen. I don't think that you could have any games in higher resolution, because all of these games are old and they run on a low resolution, because back in the day we played on a CRT screen, which did something I can't really... I don't know the technology behind it, but it wasn't really resolution, like a digital resolution that we are used to now. It was more like light waves. Correct me if I'm wrong. So maybe it's me maybe it's the nostalgia talking, but a lot of these games, in my opinion, is great to play on this device. Maybe a bigger screen could be a bit better, but for all of these old games, a 4:3 screen is required. So that would mean that you had to have a gigantic device. And I think this is a great combination between a great size device, because it has the exact same dimension as I remember back in the day the old Game Boys had, and it's just great to take with you if you're going somewhere. It has two USB-C. It has two USB-C outlets at the bottom. I haven't tested it, but one of them says OTG, which is on the go, and I think maybe this can run a USB-C headset. I'm not sure, but there is a 3.5mm jack in the middle for an old-style normal headset you can use with this, which was something that was important for me, so that my daughter could use it with a headset, because these old emulator sounds can be a bit annoying to hear in the long run. The games run great. I think the controls are great. At least in my opinion, they are better than I remember them being back in the day. There is 40,000 games. You're never going to be playing them all, but what I was looking for was great games that I remember, and they have a lot of them: Tekken, Spyro, and so on. And if you have some connection and some nostalgia with some of these games, then you are going to enjoy this as well. For a gift in the price range that it is in, I think it's a really great gift. So is the product worth the price? I paid around $69 for it, but I know you can find it a lot cheaper directly on Chinese websites. I just don't like buying anything on these websites, so I bought it off of Amazon. And in my opinion, for that price, it's a great device. There will be hours and hours of entertainment. I hope you enjoyed this video, and consider subscribing if you liked it. Bye.